Good morning, Arizona. Wednesday morning, and we were just talking. It's going to be a beautiful one. Yeah.
Not that the last couple of days haven't been nice, but we're going to warm it up just a bit. Take
Warm
it into
it up,
the
Chris.
70s.
I'm about to.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. 44 right now at Scottsdale, 52 at Tempe, and 50 at Mesa, 51 right now at Gilbert and Apache Junction. Little cooler out on the west side, 45 at Buckeye, and 46 right now at Litchfield Park, 43 at Maricopa. 52 by 9 o'clock, 67 by lunchtime. We're calling for an afternoon high under all that sunshine today. How does 74 degrees sound?
About average?
No, a little below average. Average would be
Really?
about 79. So we're still a little below average on that by about 5 degrees. And we're going to get even cooler by the weekend. We've still got that storm coming our way.
Okay,
so
let me retract my...
all right. Sorry.
It's back to average.
It may not last, so enjoy it. That's the best.
I have to tell you guys, in the afternoons, the parks are packed.
Oh, yeah.
Are they really?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Unfortunately, guys, already we've got trouble out there on the roadways. Let's go ahead and go right to the ADOT camera and show you the trouble. It's on I-10. Just before you approach that 143 and the Broadway curve, can you see the accident there? This happened about an hour and a half ago, and you can see the crews are still out there. At this point, it not blocking anything, but you know, it's my understanding that a car maybe went down the embankment here, may be here for a while. Again, I-10 eastbound, just as you start to approach that 143. Let's go to the maps. We also have a rollover Indian School on the west side of town, right there at 87th Avenue.
4:31 right now. History was made last night in the state's first recall election, ending in the defeat of Senate President Russell Pierce.
It doesn't look like the numbers are going my direction on this, and I'm okay with that.
Last night, residents in Mesa District 18 voted Pierce out of office. The architect of Senate Bill 1070, that's Arizona's anti-illegal immigration law, was defeated by charter school executive Jerry Lewis. In an emotional speech, Pierce conceded after receiving only 45% of the votes to Lewis's 53%, with Lewis's victory coming against some tough odds.
Our opponent was the most powerful politician in Arizona, and one who had deep-pocketed and powerful interests from outside our district backing him. In spite of such long odds, we pulled off an historic upset.
Pierce becomes the first sitting Senate president in the United States and the first Arizona legislator ever to lose a recall election. Lewis will be sworn into office in just a couple weeks. He will sit down with Good Morning Arizona in a live interview in the 7 o'clock hour.
Well, this morning we know who will be the next leader of Phoenix.
For the very first time, the next mayor of Phoenix, Greg Stanton!
Former City Councilman Greg Stanton won the Phoenix mayoral election against lobbyist and political consultant Wes Gullett. Stanton took 56% of the vote to Gullett's 44%. Stanton will be Phoenix's first new mayor in 8 years, replacing Phil Gordon, who is term limited.
I want to say thank you to the people of Phoenix. I value the trust and confidence that you have placed in me, and I am so grateful for the opportunity to serve. Tonight, in record numbers, a record voter turnout, the people of this city have made it clear Phoenix is ready to move forward.
Well, he is right about that. The city says a record number of voters cast their ballots this election. Early voter turnout hit an all-time high, and overall turnout broke the 1983 record for most ballots cast in a city election. As for the 2 city council seats up for grabs, Thelda Williams won for District 1 and Daniel Valenzuela won District 5.
Well, another big vote yesterday in the East Valley will close 2 of Mesa's junior high schools. Yesterday, the Mesa Public School Governing Board unanimously voted on a decision to close Mesa and Brim Hall junior high schools. After 59 years, Mesa Junior High will close its doors at the end of the year. The Brim Hall campus will stay open, but as an elementary school. The district plans to move those students to Franklin South, Franklin Junior High, and Franklin Northeast schools beginning at the start of next year. Well, a big decision in the state's redistricting fight. The Arizona Supreme Court has ruled not to reinstate the ousted chairwoman. Last week, you might recall Colleen Mathis was booted by Governor Jan Brewer and the Senate Republicans. They argued she violated the state's open meeting laws and accused her of misconduct. However, others say it was because the new lines were unfavorable to the GOP party. Yesterday, the justices denied the commission's request to stay Mathis's removal. Governor Brewer commended that decision. The court will take up that matter again next month.
The Republican presidential candidates will no longer be debating in Arizona at the end of the month. Debate host CNN and Arizona political leaders announced yesterday that debate has been rescheduled. It will now be held on February 22nd. That is just a week before Arizona's February 28th primary.
I don't even know who this woman is.
And one of those candidates was in the Valley yesterday, refuting the mounting allegations against him. Herman Cain said he's never met the most recent woman to accuse him of sexual harassment. At one point, he said he'd even be willing to take a lie detector test if he had to. Meanwhile, yesterday, another one of Cain's accusers went public. Karen Kroshar was identified as one of the employees who filed a complaint against Cain in the 1990s, and she stands by her accusations.
Operation Fast and Furious never should have happened. That was the testimony from U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. Tess Raffles is here with the details on the latest Senate committee hearing regarding that flawed ATF program. Good morning, Tess.
Good morning, Javier. That's right, flawed with serious mistakes, and it'll never happen again. Those were among Holder's comments regarding Operation Fast and Furious. He was in the hot seat as senators grilled him yesterday about the failed ATF program that lost track of some 1,400 weapons. The program allowed more than 2,000 guns to move from the U.S. to Mexico. The hopes were tracking these guns to drug cartel members, but a big chunk of those weapons went missing. 2 of the guns, in fact, turned up at the scene of a shootout where Border Patrol agent Brian Terry was killed.
It pains me whenever there is the death of a law enforcement official, especially under the circumstances that this occurred. It is not fair, however, to assume that the mistakes that happened in Fast and Furious directly led to the death of Agent Terry.
The Attorney General told the committee that when he found out about the operation, he launched an investigation immediately and ordered the ATF to not engage in those, quote, flawed tactics. Holder has already replaced 3 officials who played critical roles in the operation. Javier?
All right, having a feeling we're going to continue to follow this for months to come.
More words to come out of it, that's for sure.
Thank you, Tess.
1 month after the disappearance of 5-year-old Jessie Shockley, police are now saying her mother will undergo a polygraph test. Jessie went missing from her Glendale home while her mother, Jerese Hunter, was running errands. After weeks of searching, police say there are still no new leads in the case. However, Hunter is scheduled to take a polygraph test this week. Police say she is not a suspect, but say the test could help point the investigation in a new direction. The 2 Valley girls are caught on camera in an ugly fight, but one of them claims the mother of the attacker was there and didn't try and stop it. A warning for what you're about to see. This video is pretty graphic. Yeah, that happened on Friday afternoon outside of Maryville High School. Bianca, who doesn't want to reveal her full identity, says she ended up in the hospital with a busted lip and bruises to the side of her face. Bianca says the other girl's mother was there and was actually cheering on her daughter. Police say they are reviewing the case and may press charges against the woman. Maryville High School is also investigating.
4:38 right now. The Pima County Morgue will start charging for bodies left too long. Listen to this. The County Board of Supervisors have unanimously approved a $75 a day fee to combat crowded storage facilities. The Arizona Daily Star is reporting many of the cases are from other counties that rely on Pima County to perform autopsies. Those counties will now have to pick up that extra cost. And some great news for Arizona Diamondbacks CEO Derek Hall is recovering from surgery this morning. Hall, as you might recall, was diagnosed with prostate cancer about 2 months ago. Doctors say his surgery to remove his prostate was successful and that the cancer did not spread. Doctors expect a full recovery, and Hall hopes to be back at work at Chase Field sometime very soon. And that is the best news possible.
Fantastic.
We wish him well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, coming up on Good Morning Arizona, NBA players are working against the clock to save the season. Find out what kind of deal is now on the table.
Right, but first, the number of victims in the alleged Penn State sex abuse scandal continues to rise. We'll have the latest, including calls for legendary coach Joe Paterno to resign.
Plus, they gave their lives to serve their country, but a new investigation reveals their bodies were not properly handled. In fact, some even lost. Details on that coming up. 4:42 right now, catching up on the CNN headlines this morning. Penn State is now appointing a special committee to investigate the sexual abuse charges against a former assistant football coach. 2 Penn State administrators have already stepped down amid charges. They covered up the alleged abuse by assistant coach Jerry Sandusky. Now, 8 victims have now come forward, and officials think more victims could be out there. Meanwhile, head coach Joe Paterno is getting a mix of support and criticism for how he handled reporting the abuse back in 2002. Paterno's son has called a New York Times report that Penn State is planning to fire Paterno premature. In Mississippi, voters rejected a proposal that would have declared life beginning at conception. More than 55% of the voters said no to the so-called personhood initiative. It would have removed abortion as an option, even for victims of rape and incest, and would have restricted it in vitro fertilization. Supporters were hoping the measure would have started a legal challenge to abortion rights nationwide. Controversy is growing this morning over the handling of the nation's fallen heroes. This after an Air Force investigation found some bodies were lost. There are 14 allegations of wrongdoing at Dover Air Force Base mortuary. There were several instances where remains were misplaced. One account found a Dover mortician sawed off the badly damaged arm of a dead Marine because it could not be arranged for viewing purposes. He reportedly did not ask the Marine's family. The Air Force is calling it a gross mismanagement. Now to Brooklyn we go, where 1 person was killed, 4 others seriously hurt after a building collapse. Experts say that should have never happened, and rescuers had to use steel torches to free 5 members from a concrete pouring team from the collapsed condo complex. Inspectors say the workers were pouring concrete from the top rather than from the bottom, and that caused the floors to fall one by one. And a big loss for hip-hop. Rapper Heavy D has passed away. Police say he collapsed in his Beverly Hills home yesterday and died a short time later at the hospital. Heavy D, whose real name is Dwight Arrington Myers, began his hip-hop career back in the late 80s with a group, Heavy D and the Boys. The Los Angeles County coroner is investigating the cause of death. He was only 44 years old.
Now, your 3TV weather.
4:45 now on this Wednesday morning, halfway through what's been a chilly work week so far. Well, that is about to change. The mornings are going to stay nice and cool, but we're going to see some slightly warmer afternoons thanks to a ridge of high pressure that's causing some clear skies. It's pushing in from the west, and it's going to bring us warmer temperatures, but only briefly. This morning, 50 at Mesa, 51 at Gilbert, and a little cooler out in Queen Creek, waking up to 43 degrees, 51 at AJ, and 46. Current temperature at Tempe, 48 right now at Deer Valley, and 44 at Scottsdale, 45 in the Ahwatukee foothills, and 48 at Deer Valley, 54 to start your day at Glendale. 51 degrees up in Anthem, 48 at Peoria, and 47 right now at Surprise, mid-40s at both Buckeye and Litchfield Park, and just 41 right now at Avondale. Temperatures are up a little bit from yesterday morning when we were starting to see some outlying locations in the 30s. And again, our afternoons will start to warm up just a bit as well. We're expecting clear skies across the state today. This morning, just some thin high clouds across southern Arizona. Lots of sunshine and a warm up on our way. But here's the reason we think that's not going to last more than about 2 or 3 days. Large area of low pressure out in the Pacific. Storm storm system going to target Arizona for the weekend. Rain still looking very likely and snow for the high country. However, the timing of this is becoming harder and harder to pin down. And by that, I mean it's becoming harder to tell whether that's going to be Saturday, Saturday night or Sunday, but it still looks pretty likely it's going to be within that time frame. Today, sunny and warmer. In fact, a full 10 degrees warmer than yesterday's 64 degrees. Mid-70s today, then we'll drop it down to about 50 for an overnight low under clear skies. Tomorrow, partly sunny and breezy. Our high pressure ridge is going to be on the move, and that'll create pressure gradient with some breezes starting in the morning hours. 76, though, still a nice warm afternoon. Your Veterans Day, 76 as well, but we'll hang on to some clouds again ahead of that weekend storm. For now, it's still looking most likely that the rain could come Saturday or Saturday night. Temperatures falling behind that system into the 60s for Sunday and Monday, with a slight chance of showers lingering into the start of next week.
Time now is 4:47, and boy, not even 5 a.m. and already quite a few troubles out there. Let me first update you on the situation we were watching on the I-10. That's the eastbound side approaching the 143, and it looks like they're in the clearing stages here. They've already picked up the flare, so hopefully this will be out of here soon. Let's go ahead and go to the maps. All around the central Phoenix area, 3 different crashes. Actually, this is a broken down car. The State Route 51 northbound, right there at the Indian School on-ramp. Watch out for that. 16th Street and Thomas, just down the road there from Phoenix Children's Hospital, and then I-10 westbound at the mini stack, basically just as you start to approach that ramp for the 202.
A look at the market. Stocks rallied yesterday following the resignation of Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi. The hope is it will help Italy deal with its debt problems. The Dow was up more than 100 points, and NASDAQ and S&P also closed higher. Arizona is making strides when it comes to mortgage delinquencies. According to TransUnion, the state had the best rate of improvement last quarter and now has a delinquency rate of nearly 7.5%. However, that still places Arizona 4th worst in the country. Nationally, the number of people who were 60 days late or more on their mortgages rose nearly 6% last quarter. A warning for Toyota owners this morning. The car company is recalling more than 500,000 vehicles due to a potential steering problem. The recall affects both Toyota and Lexuses. Now, if the problem is not corrected, the belt for the power steering pump could become detached from the pulley, making it difficult to turn the wheel. There have been no reports of accidents or injuries related to that problem.
Believe it or not, more people may soon be taking private jets to their destination. Private jet carriers are seeing the first increase in demand since 2008. It all stems from commercial airlines hiking fees, cutting routes, long security lines, and lengthy delays. Some private jet firms are lowering their prices to lure in new business through flight sharing deals and social networking campaigns. Well, NBA players have until this afternoon to accept a contract offer from team owners. The offer gives players between 49 and 51% of revenues. Owners say if the players don't take it, the next deal offered will be worse. The NBA has canceled games through November 30th so far.
Hoping they can get it together.
I hope so too.
You know, the folks are saying that if at this point, if they reject this, I mean, they're looking at possibly canceling the season, not just more games.
Gosh, I'd hate to see that.
Yeah. Well, heads up for folks living near the Palo Verde nuclear generating station.
Yeah, today you could hear some loud sirens right around lunchtime. Don't worry, though. It's all part of a test. The power plant will test its 48 outdoor warning sirens within its 10-mile emergency planning zone. The sirens will be tested twice for the 3 minutes each time. The first will start at noon, the second at 12:30. And there's a big test going on for many emergency systems today. You'll see that on radio and TV and a lot of different places.
Scary if you didn't get that that warning all of a sudden.
Well, that's why I'm saying it. Radio, TV, wherever you see it, it's all a big test today happening around noon.
Good. Got to test them out. Well, still ahead, SeaWorld is right in the middle of the Sunshine State of Florida, but find out how they plan to take you to the coldest spot in the world the next time you visit.
All right, plus a morning coffee and a morning bike ride at the same time. More on this creative coffee business out of California.
Wasn't enough. I'm like, forget you and forget her too. Said if I was richer, I'd still be richer. No, ain't that some shit? Ain't that some shit? And although that's pain in my chest, I still wish you the best. But forget
imagine a vacation to the South Pole, but you only have to travel as far as Florida. SeaWorld in Orlando has announced its biggest expansion in the park's history. In 2013, it's opening the Antarctica Empire of the Penguin. Park managers say guests have demanded more immersive experiences, and Antarctica features a family thrill ride with never before used technology. But other than saying it will be very cold, SeaWorld is keeping mum on the details.
Well, listen to this one. One businessman in California selling folks their cup of joe while getting his morning bike ride in. Check out the video right here. The coffee shop uses pedal power and heat from the propane to begin the roasting process. Now, since that owner built this pedal power roasting machine almost 4 years ago, he's roasted more than 20,000 pounds of coffee. I think we drink that in a day right here on Good Morning Arizona. It's also going green to help with that process. Well, they also deliver the coffee on their bicycles as well.
What if they hooked all of these up with local spin classes at the gyms? Could roast all the coffee in the valley that way.
Be a whole lot of roasting.
That's true.
Like it.
So much more coming up this morning on Good Morning Arizona. Find out who's going to lead the 6th largest city in the country for the coming years. Election results coming up.
And maybe not that far ahead. Plus, they're taking out soda from high schools, but turns out it might not have a dent in childhood obesity. What researchers have to say coming up.
Plus, here's a look outside. We've got clear skies and cool temperatures. Not quite as cold as yesterday morning, upper 40s. We're going to warm it up to 74 today with lots of sunshine.
This is a mission that